Welcome to our 15th lesson of CrowPi. In this lesson today, we're going to talk about the segment LED. What is the segment LED? In our previous lesson, we've been talking about matrix LED. Well, the difference between matrix LED and segment LED is that the segment LED have a specific segment. Looks like number 8, but inside this number 8, you can write all the Arabic numbers. For example, 2, 5, 0 and 0, 25. We can write anything. We can show the time, we can show floors, we can count or create a timer. I've even seen people that create a bomb defusal kit for this. So, how does it work? Basically, it used the I2C protocol, the same protocol we've been using for the matrix LED and many others. It's not that complicated. You want to take a look? Let's go to our CrowPi and see how we can use it. Hi, we're back into our CrowPi. So let's take a look into our segment LED. The segment LED is located right here, right next to the matrix and on the top of the buzzer. Now the segment LED have 4 digits, 1, 2, 3, 4, and there is in the middle column to separate it. Now, how do we control it? First thing, our script today will show out the current time and date on top of our segment LED. Now, to use the current time, we will need to set up the current time on our CrowPi, else we might see different time from the time in your region right now. How are we going to do it? First, let's open the terminal, the black screen right on top here. Now, we need to go into our Raspberry Pi configuration. To do so, we will need root permissions, which means admin permissions. Now, we write sudo to get root permissions, and then we write raspi config, like this. Click enter, and we'll get into the configuration menu. Inside the configuration menu, we need to find something called localization options, which should be option number 4. Now, press enter on that, and find something called change time zone. It should be the second option, option 12. Now click on top of it, enter, and we should be able to come into a menu that shows completely different time zones. Now our time zone here is China, so we will use Hong Kong as our main time zone. We'll press Asia and then go into Hong Kong, which is right here, and press enter again. When we finish, we should be back to our main screen. You can do it for any language you want, and the results should be the same. After coming back to the main screen, you have to remember to click Finish right here. Then we'll be back to our terminal window, and we'll see the updated time and the previous time. In our case, it's the same because we haven't changed any settings. We use Hong Kong time before as well. Now, let's close this terminal window and go into our CrowPi folder. Inside our CrowPi folder, we'll need to find a file called segment.py. We open it with the IDE, and let's go line by line trying to understand how does it work. So the first thing we import is time and daytime. As we know, time we will use it for sleeping, and daytime we will use to import the current time and date in our system of the CrowPi. We can get a timestamp that's saying the current time and date in every moment. Now, we import from Adafruit LED Backpack, import 7 segment. 7 segment is a module inside Adafruit LED Backpack library. We will use it to control our module. Now, first thing, we initialize the segment in address number 70. As we know, the segment doesn't use normal GPIO pins. It will use I2C protocol for communication. Now, we start by initializing the segment by writing segment begin. Then we'll press Ctrl-Z to exit. You can use Ctrl-Z or Ctrl-C, as we used before in our previous lessons. Now, we write multiple variables, including now, hour, minutes, second, and even column. We get into this information the current time we have. For example, for now, we get the full timestamp. Hour, minutes, and second, we separate it from now, from the current timestamp, into hour, minutes, and second. Now is an object, so we can use now.hour, now.minute, now.seconds to get multiple options from inside of the object. Now we start by clearing the segment. As in previous use, we might have left something on top of it. This is a good practice to start with. Then we set the digit for each one, 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay. So the first one, we set the digit, in 0 we set the hour. On the second one, so 0 is the first one. We just use 0 to initialize the first one. So 0 is 1 actually, 1 is 2, 2 is 3, 3 is 4. We have 4 digits. So on the first one, we set the hour. On the second one, we set the minutes. Then we set the seconds, and so on. And the last one, the set colon, is the colon in the middle that separates. It's separated two digits, colon and 2 digits. We set it using this command called set colon. Then we'll write into the display the change. Just by setting the digits doesn't mean we're gonna see it in our display. We need to use the write display function to show it on top of our display. Then we will sleep 0.25 seconds and continue repeating the same function all over again until we stop. When we stop, it's important to use two commands. The first one is segment clear and the second one is segment write display. Now, after all this and understanding how the whole segment LED works, let's try to run it and see how it goes. As you can see, we see the current time, 10:51. You can try to play with the settings and maybe show different values, for example, timer or counter and so on. We can't wait to see what you are going to do with this project and hope to see you in our next lesson.